Hello, everybody. Welcome. Thanks for tuning in to the Yin Meridian video. Today we'll be covering the stomach and spleen, as well as lung and large intestine meridians. So to get started, go ahead and gather some props. If you don't have props at home, don't worry, something that would kind of be similar. You'll need a bolster and a couch pillow suffices. Also a blanket. Make it more the stiff blanket rather than a soft fleece one, if that makes sense. And then 2 blocks. And if you don't have blocks, you can definitely use some thick books, maybe soft as opposed to hardbacks, all right? So we're working the stomach and spleen meridians that are responsible for receiving and nourishing the body and then distributing that nourishment. So we're sending the energy from here into sustenance for you. When this becomes blocked or a little bit deficient, it might manifest in intestinal problems, gas or bloating, also worry, some anxiety. As you know, sometimes that manifests right here in your gut when you're really worried about something. And we're also discussing today the lung and large intestine meridians that give you energy for breath and again storing water, and then some digestion. So again, we want to keep that from being blocked for sure, because it can manifest in some anxiety or fear. So we want to keep those channels flowing. And if you have questions about this, if you want to learn more about this, refer to your manual, and then even deeper, you might want to get a book specifically on yin. If you want to see where these energy meridians are, your manual will help you see the placement of them. All right, so let's get started. We'll do some hip and back extension, and then we'll work some twists to get in, stimulate this. We're going to start in a child's pose. Now, even if you can get into child's pose comfortably, we're going to use our bolster. I'm going to place my bolster on a block. You can do it flat on the mat, and then knees are wide. My sits bones widen, and then I'll begin to recline onto this structure. Maybe your forehead or side of the head on your bolster. Let your tailbone reach towards the back of the mat and begin to relax. Just a soft hip extension here, really gentle. Begin to melt into your bolster. Let the shoulders draw away from the ears as your sits bones ground down on your heels, and find extension. Lengthen through the back body. Breathe in through the kidneys, the rib cage. Relax your belly, your stomach. We'll be here just for a little while to reset and to center into our bodies and our breath. And how could you get about 5% more comfortable? Try that. Keep your breath steady and even. Inhales and exhales. Noticing if the shoulders are coming up around the ears, draw them back. And I like to kind of rock my hips a little bit and drawing my tailbone, my sacrum back towards the edge of my mat, letting my heart melt down towards my mat. we'll remain here just about 2 or 3 more breaths. Keeping the breath fluid, imagining that prana, that energy flowing evenly from lungs to your large intestine, from your stomach to your spleen. And with your next inhale, go ahead and press yourself gently back up. We'll bring our knees together if that feels okay. Hands on thighs. Just regroup for a moment and just be here for a few breaths. Coming back. And then we'll begin some spinal extension. We'll start in sphinx pose. Coming onto your belly. Your elbows are directly underneath your shoulders. My arms are wide. I'll spread through the fingertips and press my kneecaps down, the tops of my feet down on the mat, and come into sphinx pose. We're in spinal extension. We're letting the front of the body, the belly, the stomach relax. And then maybe look forward without crunching your cervical spine, your C6, C7. Just gently draw the back of the ears back. Look forward. Energetically draw your heels of your hands back. Expand through the chest, keeping the buttocks soft. And then you might want to do a little exploration here of the neck, tucking the chin, rolling right ear to right shoulder. Get curious, see what's happening in the neck and the shoulders. Keep your breath steady. Or you might want to just remain stationary, looking forward. Remember, in yin, less is more. You're trying to release the muscular tension and get into the deeper tissues, our fascia, ligaments, connective tissues that wrap around bone and muscle, so that we can change patterns, find more space, more length, more release, for more range of motion. You can also come out of yin postures at any time. If it becomes too much or uncomfortable, feel free to exit or try an alternative, all right? About 3 more deep breaths. Fill up through your back body. Feel yourself fill up through your rib cage, your back lungs, your kidneys. Exhale, you might breathe out, mouth open. And with your next exhale, go ahead and come down, stack your forearms, rest your forehead, stay for a few breaths. If it feels good right now to wobble the hips, do that. Bend your knees, windshield wiper the legs, or just kind of wobble the hips left, right. Just rest. And let's come into another spinal extension, another back bend. Let's try seal pose. Our arms go wide and forward. I press the tops of my feet down and then inhale to seal pose, imagining a seal on the beach with its broad chest lifting and its flipper down on the sand. Relax the pelvis. Again, your belly, your stomach is relaxed. Large intestines. Breathe into these spaces. To make this less intense, you're going to walk forward and wider. If it feels okay, you might make it a little bit more intense by walking back towards your waist. Make sure it didn't get in your lower back, and still let the belly go soft. Relax your shoulders, soften through the neck. No pain in the lower back, but we're in our spinal extension. We're going to hold this for about 1 more minute. Remember, you can exit at any time if it becomes too much, but try to breathe into it. Try to sustain it by holding it for 2, 3, 4 minutes. It lets the muscles relax, and you can come into the deeper tissues that surround them. Two more breaths. And come on down. Slowly exit the pose. And stack your forearms, rest your forehead. One more little spinal extension, back bend. You can come back to sphinx or back to seal pose. Kind of see what felt the most sustainable for you, what offered you the most sustenance, and come into that. Two more deep breaths. And then go ahead and slowly release. Come on down. Rest for a few moments. And let's take a little counter posture in between. We're just going to bring our arms into a cactus shape. And I'm going to bend my left knee out towards the side, towards my elbow. Rest the side of my head, as if I'm wrapping my arms around a tree, hugging with my legs around a trunk of a tree, feeling the earth below us. Just hug in. Stay here for a few breaths. Go ahead and inhale back to straight leg, look forward, and we're just going to reverse that. Arms stay in cactus, and I'm going to bend my right knee, start to bring it towards my elbow, rest the side of my head, rest here, and imagining wrapping my arms around a tree. It's given me sustenance, energy, nature's life, and I'm hugging with my knees, my thighs into the earth. And slowly, inhale, begin to press back up. Make it slow and gentle, sitting back on your heels, resting for a few moments. Good. All right, let's work a little bit in the hips. We're going to use our props, and you don't have to. I'll show both versions. You always have the option not to use your props, or if you don't have any, but it helps you compress the body, use a little bit of a stimulation by feeling the structure underneath you. So we're coming into saddle pose, just one leg at a time. A couple options: you can straighten the right leg and then press the top of your left foot down. Make sure you press all the way through the pinky edge. I like to kind of lift my kneecap, remove the flesh. Make sure your knee's in good alignment with your foot. Press through the pinky side. If this doesn't work for your knee, I'll give you some options. And then too much pressure on the knee, bend your right leg, or just straighten it. See what feels the best. So we're going to stimulate through the hip joint, through the quadriceps front of the body. I'm going to use my bolster, laying it on my mat with the block underneath it. You're going to start coming back. So if you don't have a bolster, just start coming back on your forearms. Tailbone is close to this structure. And then a little bit further, you don't want to stress the knee, and you don't want it to lift up or over arch in the lower back. A little bit of stimulation, but not too much. Reach your knee towards the edge of the mat. Press through the pinky side of the foot, so really flatten the foot on the mat. And then maybe laying all the way back on your bolster. Just stay here, trying to breathe through the sensations. And if that just does not work for your knees, and that's very understandable, let me show you an option, and then we'll go back to our hold. You're going to come into deer pose. We're still going to use our bolster, so have that behind you, or your couch pillow. And your front leg makes a 90 degrees angle here. I'm externally rotating my front thigh. My back thigh is an internal rotation, again 90 degree. So I'm already stimulating this back thigh in the same way, right, as you would in your saddle. And then I'm going to start to come down onto my forearms. This may be it. That may be enough. Maybe a little bit deeper down. Make sure your knee still feels good. And see which one is more nourishing for you, which one feels a little better in the body. So either one-legged saddle or deer pose with this back leg in the same kind of stimulation. We'll be here for about 1 more minute, whichever one you've chosen. 2 more breaths. And slowly bring yourself up straight if you can. If not, then unfold this leg. So try to lead with the chest, press with the forearms, and then straighten your legs and kind of just flap your thighs on the mat. Just feel that stimulation on the thigh. And we'll do the second side. So I'm going to go ahead and set up my blocks in my bolster, so I'll be ready to come back into saddle pose. Maybe start with both knees bent and then bring this leg back. Make sure that your knee feels good. Draw the flesh of the thigh and up and away from the kneecap. You don't want to be right on the kneecap. Spread through the toes. Press the pinky side down. So I'm in internal rotation here. I'm working through the quadricep, my hip flexor. I'm going to scoot back to this bolster for support. I'm going to start to lean back. See how that feels. Take your time. If it's too much, bring your block on a higher setting so you're not going back as far. There should be no pain in the knee joint. Maybe straighten the left leg, lay on your bolster. Close your eyes. We'll remain here for about 3 minutes. How could you get about 5% more comfortable? What adjustments would you make? Spread through the toes, activate, press the pinky side down towards the mat. Engage through the quadricep and then release, let go, breathe, let it come into deeper tissues. Relax the heart. Soften through the shoulders. We'll exit this pose in the next 2 or 3 breaths. Make sure you don't aggravate the knee. Press with the forearms, the hands lift with the chest, lead with the sternum, or you'll just unfold this leg and come to the side. And then go ahead and lengthen both legs long. Flap the back of the thighs on the mat. Remove your bolster and block. And then just lay down. Let's integrate this into our body, laying on your back as if you're coming into Savasana. Relax through the fingertips. Let the thighs relax, the stomach, rib cage. Stay here for a few breaths. Close your eyes. And go ahead and bend your knees, or we can be there all day, right? And go ahead and roll to one side and gently press back up. All right, so let's work through some of the lung and large intestine meridians with a few twists. Let's start so by bringing your blanket behind you. We're coming into a shoelace pose, and again, this doesn't work for everybody's knees, so I'll show two versions and then we'll twist a little bit. So for the first version, you're going to stack your knees and draw your feet in opposite directions, flexing through the feet. I like to come into it by leaning forward and arching my tailbone up, stacking my knees, and then energetically reaching heels in opposite directions, flex through the feet. And then I'm going to sit down between my feet in towards my blanket. Lots of sensations here in the hips. If this doesn't work, you're just going to be right here. Pick up that foot, sole of the foot plants down without going as deep, and that's perfectly fine. And just hold this. If you want a little bit more sensation, you'll lean forward. Flex through the feet, keep them active, leaning forward, feeling a little bit more sensation in the hips. Maybe dropping forearms on a block, whether you're in shoelace or like mine. Either way, see what it feels like to lean forward and explore, making sure you can hold it. It will add a little bit of stress to the body, but in a gentle way. Notice any gripping, try to release that. So relax through the hip flexor. Draw your shoulders away from the ears. And it's perfectly fine if you're in shoelace to be upright as well. Press through the soles of the feet. So find a little exploration and see what works for your body as you explore your yin, and as you notice your students, you'll see where they're fidgety and where they might need a little bit extra guidance from you to make them comfortable so they can hold it. Make sure it's not in joint pain. There will be sensations. We're stimulating through the deeper tissues. Still spreading through the toes, rooting down through my big toe, my heel. Next 2 or 3 breaths, we'll be exiting this posture nice and mindfully. Press through the fingertips. Inhale, lift up. Come upright. And then let's twist over the front knees. Twist And we're going to keep it real easy, holding on to my thigh. Again, we don't want it to be your biggest, deepest twist of the day. Press with the back arm and begin to rotate from the rib cage, the waist, imagining you're squeezing out those toxins, allergens from the intestine, the stomach, the lungs, and making this gentle but still twisting, breathing steadily, even. And then next, inhale, breathe in, reach long, and exhale, unwind, and unwind the legs as well. Soles of the feet touch down. Just stay here for a moment. You might curl in, do a few little cat-cows. We'll prepare for the second side of Shoelace. Same options available to you. If you're coming into the full Shoelace pose, opposite leg on top that you just had, stack the knees, arch your back, stick your bum out a little bit, walk your feet wide. I'm using a blanket, and that's pretty tight on my outer hip, my hip flexor. Stack your knees, spread through the feet, relax your shoulders. And either stay here or begin to lean forward a little bit, still rooting through the pelvis. Maybe let a block catch you, bolster. The second option is also available if you're feeling too much pressure in the knees, it's not working for your body. That top leg would come, sole of the foot down. Okay? Two or three more breaths. Slowly inhale, begin to press yourself back up to upright. Maybe Press through the soles of the feet. And then we'll all meet in a spinal twist. Sole of the foot plants down. You're going to turn towards the top leg, making it real gentle. Begin to twist. Inhale through the rib cage, the waist. Don't worry about the neck looking over your back shoulder. You're just going to relax through the neck and find your twist with each breath, rooting through the pelvis. Next, inhale, lengthen, get long. Exhale, unwind. And go ahead and unwind your legs. Unwrap. And go ahead and lay on your back. Come for a quick Savasana type. Kind of integrate the postures back into your body. Lay down on your mat. Slowly, gently. And just let everything relax. Just feel in the stimulation in your lung and large intestine meridians. Trying to move that energy for nourishment, sustenance, digestion, breath. And then we'll come up, maybe come to the side and slowly press back. Just a few more postures, and then we'll rest in Savasana. So let's do a little bit more hip work. We're coming into the dragon, which is kind of like your Anjayanasana with a little bit more stimulation to the hip and the quadricep, the femur, and the lines that run beneath it. So I'm patting my knees. You're welcome to do that. We're going to use our bolster and our block so that we can really feel through that. And then from here, I'm on all fours. Go ahead and walk your left leg forward as if you're coming into Anjayanasana. But I'm going to go ahead and reach my hips forward, inner spiral this back thigh, really stimulating through here. So I feel it in the hip flexors, in my psoas. And then I'm going to place a bolster right there by my back thigh. Hold it up with a block. We'll use our second block if you want. And then I'm going to go ahead and fold into this. So I'm using my bolster on the front of my thigh for more stimulation as I fold more forward, maybe resting forearms on a block as we come here into our dragon pose, really working through the hip flexors, also the lines of the stomach and spleen meridians through the front of the thigh, the femur bone. So go ahead and let yourself lean on that bolster. Soften through any hard areas. Keep breathing. Keep breathing through the back body all the way to the hips. Notice any gripping and release. And how could you make this a little bit more comfortable while still stimulating through those organs, through those tissues? You might come on the edge of your front foot for a little bit different stretch through the inner thigh, your adductor. See what that feels like. Turn your sole of the foot towards you, coming on the edge of the foot. Or you might stay right where you are. Next 2 or 3 breaths, we'll begin to release this. We'll press with the fingertips. Remove your bolster. And then come back on into a tabletop, onto all fours. You might do a few cat chasing its tail, looking left, looking right. And then sit on your heels or tops of your feet. We're going to prepare for the second side. We'll be feeling so good in our stomach and spleen meridians, lungs, and large intestine, keeping us a little bit more free from worry or anxiety, fear, driving that energy into sustenance that holds us, that sustains us, not just in the form of nourishment of food and water, which it is, but even more than that, life's breath, prana. All right, let's go ahead and move into our second side. Big step forward with the right leg this time, right foot, and I come a little bit forward. It's okay, it's not weight bearing right now. Inner spiral this back thigh. And I'm going to put my bolster at an angle suspended by my block so I can stimulate through my back thigh, coming into those deeper lines, deeper tissue, and then go ahead and fold if that feels good. Reach for your block. You might be a little higher than me, or you might have your forearms all the way on your mat. It's up to you. Less is more though in yin, right? You might want to stay up high like this, hands at your forehead or jawbone. Find what works for you, a happy medium, knowing that we'll be holding it for 3-4 minutes. See what it feels like if you came on the edge of the foot again, exposing the sole of your foot towards you for a little bit more external rotation of the front thigh, a little bit more sensation in your adductor, your inner thigh muscle. You might play with that. Relax the shoulders. The breath softens, keep steady. Two more deep breaths. And slowly press yourself back up. Walk your front leg back. Maybe again coming to a tabletop, doing a few cat-cows, feeling that stimulation, that warmth in your lower extremities. And then go ahead and walk your feet forward. We're going to prepare for our Savasana. Have your blocks handy. I'm going to blanket out on my mat for a little bit of cushioning. And then slowly lay down. Take your time, one vertebra at a time. When you arrive, soles of the feet come together, knees apart. And you're going to place a block under each thigh, letting it support your thighs a little bit more. Stimulation in the hips. And then place your hand over your tummy, your stomach. And one near to the pubic bone. Imagining all those energy lines, how can we stimulate them, keep them functioning smoothly, fluidly. Begin to relax onto your mat. You're welcome to bring the arms out to the sides, palms up, or stay here if it feels nurturing. Slowly and gently begin to bring your awareness back to your breath, back to the physical body. Begin wiggling and moving slowly and mindfully, feeling the effects of your practice, taking the time to help heal and ease the body, the mind, the spirit. Inhale, arms up and over your head, reach from fingertips to toes, get long, and exhale, hug knees to chest. Give yourself a big squeeze. Roll over to one side, use your bottom arm as a pillow. Stay in a tucked fetal posture for the next few breaths. And then gently press back to your most comfortable seat. Once we arrive, draw thumbs up to heart space. Bowing our thinking mind to our warm, loving heart. May we lead with our hearts and not with our egos. Thumbs come up to our lips, our mouth. May we speak the truth and use our words kindly and with integrity. Thumbs come up to our third eye, our center between our brows. Intuition resides here, guidance and wisdom. May we find these qualities and use them to do good and to help those with less. Hands to the ground, may you always feel nurtured, supported by Mother Earth. Namaste. Thank you everybody for watching and doing your yin yoga class for the spleen and stomach meridians and your lung and large intestine. So important to keep that energy flowing for digestion, rest, lack of anxiety. So reach out with questions, read your course manual, and have a great day.